here they are today. Here they are. You see them today very much united, the united force of Europe, and they're force moving on to sort of make their unity more solid, and they're progressing on that ground. Yet, it's the suspicion of them being the one who, through the CIA and the whatever, secret agents coming in and breaking down the African unity. That's the OAU, and they have united. So if we relate that to the book, the Bible, is whether it is God inspiration or whatever, in the physical sense, although this also does happen, where others see unity as something that will stand in their way, and others also do not see it at that way, especially if it goes in their interest or their favor, which basically unification does bring something good, to a group or as a human society. But it depends on how it's taking place and all that. So in this regard, the same situation is what has happened with the God aspect of things and the spiritual aspect of things and the physical aspect of things. And I'm relating that to my issue. I'm sort of chipping all these days in, not necessarily as deviates, but actually making a point of, through it, to sort of show how much the godlike idea, can be taken wrongly in a different sense. The colonial sense of people, the colonialism of all these countries, Portuguese or whatever, all these groups, they took up the mantle that will go in their interest. But at the end of the day, we see the African groups or whatever group that fell into colonialism sort of also try in their way, their best way they know how, to sort of come together, but it won't be possible because the leadership of that time would not let it be. So can that be sensed as being in a similar way? You see it as if your gods will not allow that to be. So in the written words, the Bible was writing, reflecting something similar, that God of that time, the God which was a spiritual sense in that time, did not allow the unity, the human race unification, to be successful. So he crushed it. He sort of made confusion come upon them, and he brought his other, spiritual entities around with him to do that. And it did happen. That's why today we have different languages and all these, are different approaches. You cannot go to Russia, and Britain can go to Russia and just do anything if it's not because of the unification. You go to, let's say, America, you can do, or go to Africa and just exercise your authority. They also cannot do the same thing to any other. Everybody stand on what they believe, and they stand by their grounds to do whatever they do. So God is capable of all these things. God is capable of making all these things. So you ask yourself, is that God? Is that your God? Is God good? Or is that bad? Is what is happening bad? Is your ruler is in that situation standing in the way of something that you're going to do is good? Do you qualify him to be good? Today we live, most of the people live in Africa, and all the black, or let's say even in South America or wherever place that you experience colonialism, live in a state of a little bit of vendettalism or some sort of anger or some sort of sadness or somehow regrets. I don't know which best word to use here, but there is this thing which reconciliation is like a must or something that should happen. Well, why should that that happen? That they should stand in the way of another ethnic group wanting to be together, but they did that in their own interest, and they have progressed in their own interest, and they exercised the power that they had. But are we happy about it? Are we embracing it? Today, there is most of people that kind had to migrate to these countries despite rejections, despite death, despite whatever. They go through the length and hell. I myself, an example, go through the length and hell to be a part of this place in order to survive. Now, not because I hate my country or I hate where I come from, but it's something that has happened that I can change the past. I can go back and make it better. They they at that time did what they have to do, but they survived, and in their little time of survival, I'm a product that came out, and I've lived on. I mean, if they never survived, maybe I wouldn't have survived, or if their survival did not bring as a result of me being a generation coming from them, maybe I would not have that. My generation would not be, and whatever colonialism or whatever ancestors of them today had at that time would have just, have what they have to have, and we not being in a way. But the generation that survived out of those the oppressions and all that, now like me or any other people from the Jamaican diaspora or from any other place of the world, if you ever fall into that category, you see yourself as, okay, there is a bit of something there which you are not happy about. It gives you a bad image. It makes those who are not in that class look down on you because you're a victim. I mean, you come out of prison. Who respects somebody who necessarily come from prison? Even today in our world, if you have a prison records, employment is very, very difficult because the nature of it is similar to that, being in a prison or being in enslavement or being in that kind of situation. Nobody likes that. So it even damage your image more and more. So those of that class, their image has been damaged because they are ruling class, they are masters, or they are, are still there, and they have to go into their world to live there. Whatever they have achieved now may have come from that end, but they say that they won the battle. We didn't invite them in to come and win. They took the mantle of self to enter into the place. It makes me remember, as it is now when people are being repatriated and being questioned, coming from even Africa to this place and what you have to go through to come here, and, sometimes what you have to do to settle down in this place. And in those times, or the years back, in the 16th century or whichever time, they don't, the rulers or the ancestors of those today in the Western world and all over, they didn't have to get a visa to come in. They all have to get a petrol, pack their bag, and they're coming in. They didn't need any objections or anything. They don't meet any rejection. They just come in. The rejections was the people that had to resist any oppression or anything that they are not familiar with, that they were being imposed on them. But today, it's not the same way. I cannot, maybe sometimes they were very flexible, but they're getting tighter and tighter. They're tightening their grips. They won't let anybody just walk into this place just like that. So it's a bit strange why it is so, but also there is a reason to sort of do that. As they say, they need to protect themselves because there is this anger and people who come in with some envy and serious vendettalism, to sort of come back in that kind of mentality. When there are others of that nature. But no matter what it is, if you compare, it's in its place because there wasn't those that were colonized other people. Those times at that time when people go and attack other people, those people probably have not necessarily done anything. Just because the other party is interested in something or wants to enslave or some kind of, they just take upon themselves, they have the ability to do that, and they will attack the other and take control of the other. People were just taking over people's life for no apparent reason. Because all the colonial powers, what reason did they have except to look for, was it looking for greener pastures? No, by exploitation reasons. What reason would the businessmen of that ancestors of today's West world and all that, were they doing to sort of plunder or attack a country or an ethnic group or sort of put other people into that kind of state? What were they looking for except exploitation? What else? The land is right there. If we can get some things here, we go there and look for. We're sort of exploring the whole world to see what it is, And what they did is as a result of all that. Now, we can retrieve or change anything of the past. Will they acknowledge that maybe in some of the rules and regulations they set for themselves, if you come in and you settle, the rules and regulations will benefit you. But if not, even if it benefits you, there will be some undermining to make sure that you don't really take the benefit of it based on it wasn't set meant for you, but you became part of it and all that. And the guilt sometimes stands in the way, which makes it a bit flexible for you to be able to get settlement or to be a part here and really end something that will make you live or survive. Because The past is damaged. The image is damaged. There isn't nothing there to grab.